Cast in the history of the known universe, the Falconcast. With me, Fred Faour, and on Thursdays, it's always the great AJ Hoffman. And we've got a great show planned for you today because it's football season. And let's be honest, there's so much to bet on and so much to talk about with football. It's just awesome.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, Freddie.
It is. It is. And we're at the Phoenix on Westheimer. Decided kind of last minute to come do the show over here today. So if you're in the area, swing by, say hello. Fantastic place. It's one of my favorite places on the planet. I always talk about my little triumvirate of bars. And so Monday we did Coaches, and today we're doing Phoenix, and probably next Monday I'll do PJs. So that's my triumvirate. And but here today, and you might be able to hear in the background, it's hopping a little bit today, I guess, because there's soccer and rugby of all things. So what's going on, Mr. Hoffman?
Just sports and stuff, man. Just living my best life, Freddie. It's like slightly less than miserably hot here now, so I don't know. I'm not like trying to think that maybe fall is coming, but one day it could get here, and that'd be fun. But yeah, just living for the weekends. Grinding, and watch, like, soaking in all this football, all these fights. It's just that's the life in football season, man.
Yeah, and it's funny because all I do now on weekends is basically sit at home all day and watch as many football games as I can, Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
And, sometimes I'll sneak over to PJ's to watch a game, but for the most part, just watch at home and see how my bets go. And there were some games that I didn't think were going to turn out to be very good, and they did. Colorado State was one. I think my favorite game of the week was Missouri-Kansas State. With the kid kicking the 61-yarder.
That was crazy.
After getting a delay, that was the worst penalty I've ever seen.
It's terrible.
They spiked the ball.
That kicker saved their lives.
Yeah, because they spiked the ball and act like it was a timeout. And so they walk over to the side and, what the heck are you guys doing? It's just crazy. So, anyway, that was a good one. A couple others. TCU beat the crap out of UH, which I expected. So actually cashed a ticket on that, believe it or not. And I'm going to be honest, I kind of like Sam Houston State this week.
I don't hate them. 12.5 is a lot of points.
Yeah, and I just don't think Houston's very good right now. And
they don't really have an identity. I mean, and honestly, I don't know if Dana's lost it or what's going on with him. He's just it's not the same as he used to be. Like there's no creativity. It's very vanilla, and they don't have a lot of talent. And it makes you think back to that year where he basically sat everyone out and made them all redshirt.
Yeah,
do you remember? And I mean, that was that's got to be one of the biggest failures in history at this point, right? That was clearly not the answer.
No, I mean, it did get them a 12-win season, but I've been saying all along the difference between last year's 12-win team and this year's 8-win team, or last year's 8-win team, was Marcus Jones. The difference between last year's 8-win team and this year's team is Nathaniel Dell. So it's they're not the same team. I think, and when you're on record as saying we fire coaches for winning 8 games, it doesn't look good for Dana. But
no, and I mean, and now he's got less excuse for recruiting. You're in the Big 12 now. You should be able to get better players, and it seems like as he's been there, the players, the quality of players, gone down.
Yeah, and especially in the line. The offensive line has just not been good for a couple of years. And defensively, I think they've got some players. But, I mean, some of the play calls on both sides of the ball are just baffling. And, especially on 4th and 1. Come on, man. These guys used to be good at that.
Yeah.
So, anyway, anything else catch your eye last weekend?
Tennessee going down. Yeah. It's kind of something
That's a good call, man.
Yeah, something I've been kind of waiting to see, and I could not get behind that offense. I didn't believe in it. They're very undisciplined. They start 1st and 15, 2nd and 20 so often, and without Hendon Hooker to bail them out, it's not the same offense that it was last season, and it was still being priced as such. So historically, like I said, Florida had dominated that series, and particularly at home. So catching 6.5 for them to win outright, that felt like it was a pretty good call by me. And then, I mentioned the Air Force game where I just didn't think that they would have any problem against Utah State. I think Utah State's a disaster, and I think that continues this week. Just a spoiler alert. But I think that Air Force, it was never really even in doubt. And LSU was pretty strong. LSU, again, came out, and that Mississippi State team just was never competitive with them. So I was on things last week. I won our little pool that we play in with Eric, and I'm now 9-1 on the season in there. So things are ramping up for your boy.
Looking pretty good, my friend. 9-1 is awesome. So, getting back to Florida, and by the way, Washington too. Washington has been one of those teams that, they're just worth riding until they break. I mean,
they're one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the country. I'm pretty sure. Like they're incredible.
And you mentioned Florida. I don't think that Utah loss is gonna. I don't think that was that bad, frankly. First game of the season.
No one wins at Utah.
Yeah,
no one wins there. It just doesn't happen.
No. So. So I thought those were interesting games. A good call on those, and I'm going to keep riding Washington until they butt me off. But looking ahead, man, we got some really good games this week, at least on paper. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but man, like Oregon State, Washington State, I think is an underrated game.
Fantastic game.
And Florida State, Clemson.
There's 6 top 25 games that have 2 top 25 teams. And that doesn't even include Florida State Clemson. That tells you how awesome this weekend is. Like last weekend, it was some pretty lame matchups. This weekend, we're filled with some awesome matchups, man.
Yeah, including Colorado, Oregon. I think this is where Colorado gets its comeuppance.
Yeah, I think that this is a pretty ugly spot for Colorado. I mean, we've known their defense is bad. That got exposed a little last week. But more importantly, they lost their best defensive player, and Travis Hunter being gone is they've got depth on offense to replace what he does at wide receiver. You can't replace him in the secondary, and so losing your best defensive player when you're going on the road and playing the toughest opponent you've seen yet. After last week, you kind of got lit up by a Colorado State offense that is nowhere near what Oregon is, and also consider that Dan Lanning seems like he doesn't particularly like Deion. He doesn't particularly like Colorado. I guess not a lot of the teams in the Pac-12 do, but I expect him to put the hammer down. I think Colorado takes some medicine this week.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. I like Oregon quite a bit. Alabama Ole Miss is pretty interesting, especially the way Alabama looked.
The fact that money, okay, I get it. When it opened 13.5 or whatever, that was a senseless line. So I get that the money came in on Ole Miss, but now it's gotten to where it's like Alabama minus 6.5 at home against Ole Miss, and it feels like no one wants to bet. No one wants to bet on Alabama right now. If you're an Alabama backer, you got beat against Texas. And you got dominated against South Florida, you weren't even close to that number. But here's the deal: Ole Miss now at 6.5 at Alabama. Do you remember the line Texas at Alabama?
Yeah, exactly.
It was Texas plus 7.
Yeah.
So the line now says Ole Miss is a better team than Texas. That's just not true. If you covered with Ole Miss last week against Georgia Tech, you should buy a lottery ticket. Congratulations, but buy a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're buying pretty low on Alabama here. And with Milroe back under center, I think their ceiling is higher. They've got the best playmaker on the field. I think I'm back in the Tide this week, catching under a touchdown.
I think I'm with you on that, and I think Milroe's their best quarterback.
It's not even close. There had to be either a discipline thing, which is kind of what I thought at first, but the more I've looked into it, I think this was Nick Saban. This was Tommy Rees in Nick Saban's ear saying, "Hey, these guys are good. These guys are good." And Saban finally said, "Okay, Tommy, prove me wrong." And it was a game that they knew they weren't going to lose, but it was a game where Saban figured if he's wrong, because Saban sees these guys at practice, he knows they stink.
Right.
Like it would at least be clear that Saban was right and Milroe is the guy. That's kind of what I think has happened here. And like Tommy Rees he shouldn't have the job. He shouldn't be the OC at Alabama. He's not a good enough coach. But this is to me, this will be a bounce back game for the Tide.
Yeah, and the other thing about Alabama is I think that Milroe didn't play well against Texas, but Texas is damn good, and I think that was part of it. So we'll see how that goes. By the way, we're broadcasting live from the Phoenix on Westheimer today. If you want to come out, I'm in the corner near the Penn State flag. So
nobody puts baby in the corner.
Oh, everybody puts in the corner. So my friend Kim the lawyer is here. We're going to talk about some dogs to adopt later on in the show. And yeah, we're at the Phoenix. They have a 5K coming up on September 30th, and we'll see how golf goes tomorrow. But I've started running a little bit again, and I'm going to try to make it. Hopefully it's not 100 degrees outside when we do it, but that'll be September 30th.
That'd be the worst because you'd turn red.
Redder, but yeah, so that's coming up on the 30th, and right now they've got Premier League, they've got the Champions Cup is now underway, and it's the place for whatever team you root for. This is the best soccer bar in the city, so please swing by. Very easy to find. It's on Westheimer, and it's one of the few places down here that actually has parking, so that's a big deal. But come by, say hello to the great staff. Vu's usually here, and we've talked about something that I'll have more details on shortly, but it turns out that the Phoenix and I share the same birthday.
Hey, so you, the Phoenix, and my wife.
Yeah. So maybe we'll fly Annie down for it. I don't know. There will be a pretty badass party here that day. So make your plans now. All right. Any other college football games that stand out before we move on to the NFL?
I can you bet against Oklahoma right now? I certainly can't.
No, I can't either. I'm not getting in front of that train.
They are an absolute juggernaut, and I don't think Cincinnati's very good. I think Emory Jones stinks. That was another call I had last week. I was on Miami of Ohio plus 14.5 points. I didn't even need them. They win that game outright. So this is a rough team, and Emory Jones can run the ball, but I don't know that anybody's going to have success running the ball against that Oklahoma front. They're allowing nothing. And last week, you would think, okay, they played SMU, which is a really high-level G5 team. And then this week, they've got Cincinnati. So last week should have been a sleepy spot.
Yeah.
All they did was just bludgeon Tulsa on the road. Oklahoma is fierce right now. Like that Texas OU game is looking like it's going to be a real fun game. And then Ohio State Notre Dame, I think, is the game of the week. My co-host here, Scott Seidenberg, he and I have gone back and forth on this. He believes in Notre Dame. I'm not sold yet, and I wanted to back Notre Dame here. I was hoping I'd get 3.5. There was a 3.5 when it opened. I didn't take it because of what I saw from Ohio State last week. One of my losers last week was Western Kentucky plus the points against Ohio State. I was like, this Ohio State secondary, they're getting roughed up a little bit. Western Kentucky throws it. They're going to have some success. All I need is a couple touchdowns from Western Kentucky. Well, Ohio State shut them down. And shutting down, I know it's Western Kentucky versus Notre Dame, but Western Kentucky can throw the ball on just about anyone, and they had no success against Ohio State. That worries me about Notre Dame here. I worry that Notre Dame, who's played a very soft schedule, is about to run into the best guys that they've seen, and it's going to be sort of a wake-up call for them. So I've ended up passing the game. I feel like the number's about right. If I was forced to play a side at 3. Oh, lost you first. Freddie, you back?
Yeah, you're cutting off on me. Yeah, I mean, we're fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, I what I was saying was I don't have a play on this game. If I did, it would be Ohio State. If I was forced to play at 3.
I'm intrigued by Penn State and Iowa, which you would hardly ever hear me say, but I really like this Penn State team, and I don't think Iowa. I think Iowa's better than I thought they were, but I like Penn State in that game quite a bit actually. It's whiteout game.
Yeah, it's funny. I normally would. My initial thought is Iowa is almost like a service academy. When you see Iowa catching 14 and a half points, it's almost an autoplay, and
Yeah,
I'm not auto playing it. So Penn State is nasty, but I'm staying out of this game. Iowa lost their tight end for the rest of the season. He's a big deal. But Penn State, they forced 5 turnovers last week. Like I think that the game wasn't as lopsided as it seemed. It was like 5-0 turnover battle. So
right.
I'm scared to back Penn State because Iowa's such a good dog, but I'm not playing them. I can tell you that.
All right. Well, I want to welcome in everybody who's on the Twitch today. Thank you for joining us. Some of the, the regulars are here: Bleed Blue and Flea and Flip and Rain Man, Chucky D. John Totoron is here. 75 Truth. And you guys feel free to weigh in on there if you got questions. We're going to move on to the NFL here after I tell you about Dr. Linville, who can't be here today because he's fixing breasts. I mean, that's one of the things he does, obviously. But, Dr. Linville is terrific. I had the hair graft surgery with him, and I love it. And it's real easy. If you go to hairspecialisthouston.com/getfalconhair, they will set you up. And please go check it out. I mean, you get a free consultation. And even if you just need a little bit done, like Jermaine was talking about the other day, getting a little bit of his beard done, you book a consultation. And if you book it through that website or you just tell them you heard about it on Falconcast, your consult fee will be waived. That's a $150 value. Plus, they have a special going on. And this may not seem like a lot, but they charge $4 per graft, right? And I think I had 2,451 grafts done, right? Well, now it's $3.50.
You needed a lot of hair.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get it done again. I need a little touch up, but yeah, the over 95% of the grafts take because they're handled and prepared safely. And yeah, if you need other work done, you need tummy tuck or lipo, or your lady wants to have her breasts reduced or enhanced, whatever she wants. You can do it with Dr. Linville, but go through hairspecialisthouston.com/Falconcast or Get Falcon Hair. Excuse me, I get confused. I'm old. Yeah, I had a friend the other day told me she was going to go in and get some work done there, and and he's great. He'll work with you. He loves the old school blitzers. He loves everybody who's on the pod today. All right, let's get to a little NFL action. The game tonight, and tell me if we made a mistake here. We took San Francisco in our suicide pool.
Like just to win outright?
Yeah.
No, I don't think you made a mistake. I don't really see a path to the Giants hanging with them. 10.5 is too crazy of a number for me to want to play. But typically these Thursday night standalone games, what happens? The favorites dominate. It's rare that we see, especially a home favorite dominates. It's rare that we see a team come up and bite them, and particularly the Giants, who are without their best player. It seems like this is a tough time to want to back the Giants. So, no, I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, because my other thought was just continue fading Arizona and take the Cowboys. But I kind of like the idea of, let's get this through Thursday night. We'll be 3-0 and let's move on.
So what we've been doing for the Dream Pod is DraftKings has us doing a same game parlay every week. Like putting one together. So if you follow RJ Bell's Dream Preview, you find all our podcasts there. But we put one out every Wednesday night for the Thursday games. And we went with 49ers on an alternate line of minus 12.5 or minus 13.5. So they've got, if the 49ers win by 14, we're good. We went Brock Purdy under pass yards and Daniel Jones over pass yards, assuming that the 49ers are going to be able to sit on the ball, and right. the Giants are going to be chasing. And that three-leg same-game parlay pays plus 700. So it's a nice little maybe worth a little dip is all I'm saying. That's what I think. I think the Niners blow them out, and we see a lot of McCaffrey, and we see a lot of Daniel Jones chucking it around trying to come back.
I like it. That's pretty cool. So, all right, I feel better about that. It's funny, going back to almost every year we did the show, I'd always feel better to when we agreed on something, because usually that worked out.
Yeah.
Usually, not always. Sometimes we're both wrong. It's rare though. But yeah. So I feel good about that play, and I think we might actually be doing an extra podcast tonight where we go over all of our super contest picks, because we have a.
Oh, you guys are in?
Yeah, we have a proxy in Vegas who does the plays for us. So
nice.
Yeah, so we're 2-2-1 last week. We're to me, just hang around 500 the first few weeks and then go on a tear.
Yeah, that's all you can hope for. Yeah, RJ's his contest, or I guess our pod's contest. It's really RJ's. He makes all the decisions on it. Went really? 4-1 in week 1, and then went 1-4 in week 2. So it's at 500. And then Scott and I are in the Golden Nugget contest, where it's every college game, every NFL game on the board. You pick 7 games a week, and it's $1,000 entry. And we started out 3-4 week 1, but we had a 5-1-1 last week. That freaking Saints push. I'm guessing that was your push as well. Was the Saints?
Yeah, it was my push as well.
That was a tough beat. That should have been a win. But so having a strong week 2, we're now like a half game out of the money. So we're back in good shape after a slow start.
That's cool, man. I that's one I should get into, because I do better with college football.
Yeah, really. and it's not like the contest we did last year through Will Hill was like they would give you 15 games, 20 games, and you had to pick 8 of them. It's like, dude, if you're going to make me pick 8 games a week, give me all the menu. But this one does just that. So it's kind of a pain in the ass. I got to drive downtown to the Nugget to put in the plays. They don't have an app. So that's a little bit of a pain in the ass. But, other than that, there's like 153 entries, I think. Brad Powers has some entries in it. So our old buddy Brad. So it's a fun little contest. I'm excited to be doing it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to definitely look into that next year. But who knows? I may be living out there next year. We
Come on.
Don't know. But one of the things I want to just mention, a couple of people on the Twitch, Big Freaky Mike is telling me not to go too hard in the paint tonight because we have an early tea time. It's like, I'm going to be useless. I've already said this. So, and listen, Mike and Mike, we played together a bunch in these scrambles. They hit the ball a ton. I can't hit the ball that far anymore. So, I'm just going to I'll go out there and try to bunt something in the fairway. And all I do is putt. I mean, I will make some putts for us. I'm good at that. But BC's going to be there. Rogelio's playing with us.
Orale.
Yeah, we added him. We figured between me and him, we make half a golfer.
Okay.
So he's going to be on our team. And so if you're out there tomorrow, I know a bunch of you are playing. Please come say hello. And, I'll buy you a free drink from one of the – there's a lot of those out there. But I love hanging out with those guys. And we have so much fun. And yeah, we probably drink too much. So I'll be Ubering out to Battleground tomorrow. But it's also for a great cause. And thanks to all of you who signed up. And please say hello. All right, let's get to what do I need to do here before we get to this? I need to tell you about Lanham Industries. And these guys are great, man. I've been talking about getting that Lake Livingston home. And when I do, I'm going to have them do everything, right? Because that's what they do. Cleaning, lawn care, laundry, maintenance, inventory management, property management services, all of it. And they've got veteran-owned and operated, which we want to support that. 5-star ratings from guests and owners, highly trained and dedicated crew. If you've already got a place out there, give them a call, because they'll take care of you. And if you don't, and you're like me and you're going to want to buy one, then they'll take care of you there too. Just give them a call, 936-581-6166, 346-773-9577, or go online to lanhamindustries.com. And if you can't remember any of that, just hit me up at the Falconcast at yahoo.com, and I'll tell you all of it. And Andrew's a great guy, big supporter of the show. Big fan of yours, AJ, from way back. So
right on.
Happy to have them on board. All right. So BC says he's out there setting up now, and the course looks beautiful. Okay. I'll be hungover in the morning. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, you guys know me. It's just, and I'm gonna suck, but it's gonna be fun.
That's all right. It's expected.
Yeah, well, you know what? I haven't swung a golf club in forever because, it's stupid old man stuff. I hurt my neck, and it's so funny that I couldn't move my head. But yesterday, Kira knocks me over. She's just playing around, and when I pop up, suddenly my neck's better.
I feel like you should have a small dog. You let your dog
Oh,
knock you down way too often to have a big dog.
well, I probably should have a small dog, but the reality is, um, and I thought about maybe she needs a family with kids and a big yard, but I can't give her up. I mean, I'm better. I'm better than the ditch. Okay,
That's
so,
true.
and so yeah, and I love that dog now. She's just everything to me. So yeah, I'll take my beatings every now and then.
All right.
But she's a 60-pound puppy. What the hell do I expect, right?
Yeah. You need to get that dog trained at least so she doesn't run around and knock you over and stuff.
Oh, I am. I'm going to take her to training. It's just as soon as I can.
All
Uh,
right.
I just got to get the money together, which is going to happen. And Flip says she's going to outlive you. Probably, yeah. She's 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think she'll outlive me. And then somebody's going to get a nice trained old husky
Yep.
who's beautiful. So there. And actually, I took her to get groomed today and get her nails clipped. So hopefully she'll scratch me less. At least it won't go as deep on the skin. How's that?
Yeah. This time when she knocks you down, she maybe won't make you bleed also.
Yeah. Well, all right. So let's get to some of the games, and I'll just bounce through them like we always used to do.
Sounds good.
Tennessee at Cleveland. This is interesting because no Nick Chubb, and I just don't think the Browns are very good, and I don't think Deshaun Watson's very good. But Tennessee, I don't have a lot of faith in.
So I agree with you that Deshaun Watson's not very good. I think I strongly disagree about Cleveland being good because I think that their defense is elite. And
Yeah, that's fair. What I guess I should have said that I just don't trust their offense.
it's pretty wild to consider. So they've given up 1 touchdown so far. They have not let a team snap the ball in the red zone yet. So a team has not been inside. They've not started a play inside their 20-yard line yet. Like that is a dominant defense. And Ryan Tannehill looked so bad in week 1 against that Saints pass rush. He looked like the worst quarterback in the league. I think we could see more of that here. He got sacked. He's been sacked 8 times so far. Bottom 5 in both completion percentage and yards per attempt under pressure. And the Browns defense getting pressure on 32% of dropbacks. That's the 3rd highest in the league. Tennessee's without Pete Skoronski again, who was their first-round pick. He graded as their best run blocker and pass blocker in week 1. I don't know. And if Deshaun can't look good against this pass defense, then Deshaun just stinks.
Right.
I lean to the Browns here. If it's 3, I probably play the Browns. 3.5, I'll probably just lean.
Yeah, and I think I think at some point Deshaun's going to start playing well again. I just don't know when that's going to be.
I don't either.
Yeah, well, I mean, he needs more massages. Clearly,
He's very tight.
yeah, he needs his butthole rubbed or something. I don't know. Anyway, Atlanta and Detroit. I actually bet against Detroit last week with Seattle, and that was one of the ones that worked out.
Yeah, same.
But I think this might be a bounce back for the Lions.
I don't know, man. The Lions are so beat up. Amon-Ra St. Brown's beat up. David Montgomery's beat up. Taylor Decker is probably going on the IR. Gardner Johnson is now done. They're just banged up everywhere, and Seahawks had their way against that defense, and the Seahawks were missing both their starting tackles. Like they were brutally injured, and they still had a lot of success. I don't think much of Desmond Ridder, but a lot of his numbers are weighed down by a week where the pass rush was just all over him, and Detroit doesn't have a pass rush. They've had 1 sack all season. And so far this season, Atlanta's offense has been better than Detroit's. I think we all kind of went into this season thinking Detroit was like close to the top tier of the NFC. And I think it's a lot more likely that they're right there with the Atlantas and the Saints and just a pile, Minnesota, just a pile of teams that are all kind of average. So if I'm getting 3 points, that's probably the way I would lean.
Yeah, I think that win over Kansas City kind of might have hid some of their problems too.
Oh, yeah.
And Atlanta can run the football.
No doubt.
And that's, as long as they stick to that, I think they'll be fine. A couple things I want to welcome in day one. Donna says hello to both of us.
Hey, Donna.
and Angel, who's going to send me a special hangover remedy with Mike for me tomorrow. Mike and Angel might be my favorite couple on the planet. So
Nice.
they're really really fun people, and like I said, we've all played a lot of scrambles together. All right, we'll zip through a little more here. Let's go to New Orleans at Green Bay.
Man, this one's tough for me. Jordan Love has looked a lot better than I thought he would through 2 weeks, but he's still completing just 56% of his passes, and he's going to be seeing the best defense that he's seen so far. My question is, can the Saints run the ball? How are they going to run the ball? So with no Jamal Williams now, it's going to have to be a lot of Taysom Hill. And Green Bay can't stop the run. You have to be able to run the ball to beat them. And right now it feels like Taysom Hill's the only option the Saints have. I lean to the Saints, but I don't want to back them because I don't know how their run game's going to look.
Yeah, pretty much in agreement on that one. How about? I don't know what to make of. Okay, so I got to tell you this: in our suicide pool last week, we were down to 2 games. One was Denver, and one was the Giants. So we took the Giants, and at halftime,
oh man,
we're like, "Oh God, this was so stupid." And then the Giants come back and win, and Denver collapses.
Yeah,
that was a hell of a Hail Mary at the end there.
Yeah,
to almost get there. But yeah, so what do you think? I think Miami is that offense, as long as Tua is healthy, that's one of the better offenses in the league.
It is, but I can't help but think the summer line when this was a game of the year was 3.5. Have we upgraded the Dolphins are pretty much what we expected them to be. They're a good offense and a so-so defense. The Chargers move the ball really well against them. I think if anything, the Broncos, you would have to say Russell Wilson's played better than you expected. Like Russell Wilson's been more than serviceable even.
Yeah.
So 6.5. I'm starting to lean to the Broncos here. I like the over in this game, though. I just don't think there's a lot of stops. I think Miami's always going to be hard to stop. And getting Jerry Jeudy back really kind of opened up the offense, I think, for the Broncos. And it let them run the ball. And they ran for 5.3 yards a carry last week. Dolphins are 29th against the run. So I think this is a game that there's just a ton of points.
Yeah, and Denver's defense isn't, this isn't the Denver defense from the last couple of years. I mean, it really isn't. So, yeah, I like that bet a lot. Los Angeles at Minnesota.
Man, this is frustrating for me because RJ gives me a lot of shit about it, but I'm a big Justin Herbert believer. And the fact is his team is shitty. His coaching is shitty. Like they're just I don't feel like Herbert's not playing well, but the team is not good. And Minnesota was so lucky so many times last year. And so far this season, it's been the opposite. They've lost 2 close games. They lost to Tampa. They lost to Philly. Games they shouldn't have really lost, maybe. And the Chargers, to put it into perspective, how bad the Chargers are defensively, 6.9 yards per play allowed for the Chargers. That is dead last in the league. 31st is the Bears at 6.0. If you shaved 0.9 yards per play off the Bears, they would be the 12th best defense. If shaving that off the Chargers would make them tied for 31st. It's just a disaster. Kirk Cousins has looked really good. I can't trust. I just can't trust the defense here. So, but Herbert's been very good against pressure historically. Second in EPA per play when the ball's out in 2.5 seconds or less. So the Flores blitz-heavy defense probably doesn't affect him as much. This is another game where I think there's a lot of points scored because I think both these offenses are good. I think both these defenses are trash.
And realistically, I mean, the Chargers just don't have the defense we thought they'd have.
Nope.
Very much like Denver. I mean, they're just not good. And, they've got players over there. It's just, I don't know what it is, but I'm starting to think that maybe Staley just can't coach with
It's got to be because, from a roster standpoint, the Chargers have a top 10 roster.
Oh, absolutely.
If you say, look at all our players, the Chargers have one of the best rosters, and they continue to underperform. That can only be coaching, in my opinion.
Patriots at the Jets. I kind of think this is a get-right game for the Patriots because you know how Belichick does with young, bad quarterbacks.
Yeah, so I've lost week 1 and 2 betting the Patriots, and I feel like I should be 2-0. But that's life. But Jalen Hurts and Tua have found a way to get the job done. Zach Wilson is so bad. The Jets have gone 0-4 against Patriots in the Zach Wilson era, and they've averaged 9 points scored in those games. Now the reason they've averaged 9 points is because in one of those 4 games, Zach Wilson got knocked out after 10 plays, and Mike White put up 14. Otherwise, it'd be even worse. Like he's a disaster. It's tough to play on a team where you've lost back-to-back weeks with them. But I just think Belichick is he's not gonna give Zach Wilson anything. The Patriots offense is pretty gross though. That's the hard thing about playing them as a road favorite. I don't like a lot about them offensively. But I also don't like that the Jets, like Breece Hall, you're complaining about carries. Like, dude, you're a rookie. Dalvin Cook's on your team. But I think that the expectations the Jets had going into this season were so high that all these players thought, man, we're going to win a freaking Super Bowl. And now that Rodgers is hurt, all that's gone, and they don't know how to handle anything, any kind of negativity or anything bad happening. So I don't know. I'm not backing the Jets right now. There's just no way.
Yeah, and the Patriots are beat up in the secondary, and I hated seeing Marcus.
Throw the ball then, Zach Wilson. I dare you.
Well, that was my point. Was like, okay, yeah, they're beat up in the secondary, but the Jets can't take advantage of that.
Exactly.
So yeah, I hated seeing Marcus Jones go down last week. I love that guy. I always have. Great person, great Cougar. And I don't know how long he's going to be out yet. I don't know if they've announced that, but that sucked. All right, Buffalo at Washington. Buffalo was one of my big wins last week. I hammered them. I gave up the 8.5. I didn't care.
Yeah, that was my favorite play too. And I think I might have given out the stat last week about how they do versus non-playoff teams versus playoff teams, and the Bills just bully bad teams.
Yeah.
And that's what they did to the Raiders. I don't see why they wouldn't do that here. I think Washington's incredibly overrated at 2-0. They beat the Cardinals and Broncos by a combined 6 points. This defense is the best defense they will have seen so far. They made Jimmy G look awful last week. They're the third best defense in DVOA, and the Cardinals the Commanders just gave up 33 points to the Broncos. And you could say, well, it was 27 points in a Hail Mary, but you still gave up 27 points to the Broncos. I just think that we're like the week 1 performance by Josh Allen and the Bills offense was the exception. Last week against the Raiders is the rule. And unless you think Washington is better than I do, I can't back the Commanders here.
No, and this is another one I agree 100%. It's that Josh Allen game week 1 was an outlier. That's not what he is. And, give the Jets defense some credit. But, he just played like a dog, and it was week 1. Well, he's going to be fine. I'll take Josh Allen all year. And I do like the Bills here. And the Commanders, I think that's a little bit of fool's gold. All right, your beloved Houston Texans at Jacksonville. Truth is, the Texans have always played Jacksonville pretty well, but this is an all-new staff and an all-new team, and I don't think these aren't your daddy's Jaguars.
I was curious. I know Laramie Tunsil returned to practice. I mean, that's a big deal. I think C.J. Stroud is better than he's looked. The offensive line's just been such a disaster. It's hard for him to know. I just don't know how the Jags can be this big of a favorite right now. They couldn't. So the Chiefs game last week, the Chiefs, they gave them 3 turnovers. The Chiefs got called for 12 penalties, and the Jags still couldn't score a touchdown, like against the Chiefs defense. I think this is not nearly as elite of an offense as we thought. And Trevor Lawrence, 2-6 ATS in his career as a favorite, 0-4 ATS when he's been favored by more than 4 points. So I'm not looking to back the Jags here. It'd be Texans or pass.
Yeah, but I can't play the Texans right now. And they're so beat up in the secondary. Now, and I talked about this on Monday. it's like the names you didn't hear at all last week were Will Anderson and Derek Stingley.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a big deal. They need him to be a lot better. All right, let's
Well, and
move to the
now
next one.
Stingley's out for a while, so they're going to need to find someone else to step up.
Yeah, and I mean that guy gets hurt so much. It's just
To think they could have had Sauce Gardner, who didn't have the durability issues. Like that's kind of a bummer.
Colts at Baltimore. Listen, I don't think Baltimore's even scratched the surface of what they can do yet. And you know what? I think it was kind of a blessing for Indy last week that Richardson got hurt. I mean, he ran in those 2 touchdowns early, but they were going to make him pass the ball. And then Gardner Minshew comes in and is damn near perfect. I just think I think the Ravens are just too good here. I really do.
See, I'm going to go the other way. These Ravens they're 2-0 ATS. They played C.J. Stroud in his first start ever with no offensive line. And then they played the Bengals where Joe Burrow couldn't throw the ball 5 yards down the field because he's hurt. Now, so no one's been able to take advantage of the idea that the Ravens' entire secondary is hurt. And now I think you mentioned Richardson being a blessing in disguise. I think it really helps this game. If Richardson plays, I like this a lot less. If Gardner Minshew plays, he can attack downfield against this Ravens secondary that's so beat up. And I don't think the Ravens are going to be able to play the pass here. The Colts defensive front has been very good. Guess where else the Ravens are beat up? The offensive line. The Texans game last week, they sacked Stroud six times for 47 yards. I could see a very similar thing happening there. This 7.5 feels like what the number should be if the Ravens were healthy. The Ravens aren't healthy. So it's hard for me to get there. Again, if Richardson plays, I'm not interested because I don't know that he can't throw the ball down the field either. But if Minshew plays, I'm going to like 7.5 here, and I'll probably get a better number if Richardson's announced out.
Yeah, and the thing about Richardson is the Ravens will find a way to defend him. They're not going to let him run crazy like the Texans did. So Carolina at Seattle. Man, I love the Seahawks so much last week. I think this is a good football team, man. And I think they're going to be – I think they're a playoff team. And I just don't think Bryce Young is quite there yet.
Well, I don't think Bryce Young's going to play. It's the second day in a row he's missed practice, so it's starting to look more and more like it's going to be an Andy Dalton game. But there's just no downfield threats for the Panthers. Like Adam Thielen is their leading receiver through 2 games with 33 yards per game. And Carolina, they announced that J.C. Horn is done for a while. So now you're missing your best corner against a team that's got tons of weapons at wide receiver. 6 is a big number, and I don't love what I've seen out of Geno Smith so far. But it'd be Seahawks or pass for me.
Yeah, and that's one of the few home fields that I actually give more points to is Seattle. Because I do that whole computer system where there's some home fields that are worth more than others, and certainly Seattle is worth more than say Houston, or Arizona. So I think being at home is big for them. That's a tough trip. Good luck, Carolina. Chicago at Kansas City. How long before Chicago makes a change at head coach? They just look terrible.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me. But now if you change him, you got to find a new DC as well because their DC's gone. Eberflus is calling the plays on defense. There's just so much drama going on. Justin Fields is talking about being overcoached and then having to reel that back and say, no, that's not what I meant. Like,
what the hell was that?
None of this is good. But that said, I don't want to lay a giant number with the Chiefs right now. Like, the Chiefs are averaging 18.5 points per game.
Right.
I mean, maybe Eric Bieniemy being gone does matter. Like, maybe he mattered because the Commanders' offense looks pretty solid. The Bears' defense is just dreadful. They're 31st in the league in yards per play allowed, and that's coming against Jordan Love and Baker Mayfield. What's Patrick Mahomes going to do to those guys? Like, probably whatever he wants. The Chiefs are better defensively than I thought. But I just can't back him here laying this many points. Field says he's going to go back to what he knows, which sounds like he's going to just run around and try to make things happen on his
Right.
own.
Pull the ball down and take
That's
off.
okay. If you're going to do Johnny Manziel in the NFL, we've all seen how that works.
Yeah, that's okay.
It doesn't. But yeah, I don't want to lay this big number, but I've got no interest in backing the Bears at any price.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's just not a team I can get behind. You know, I got to give Arizona credit. They've been better than I thought they'd be.
No
And
doubt.
we know they're trying to lose, right? And we talked about that a couple weeks ago. This team is trying to lose, but they're hanging in there. But I think they're running into the train this week that is Dallas, and that was the other one we thought about using in our suicide pool. I think Dallas is going to. And what people don't realize is that stadium is going to be Cowboys heavy. It always has.
Yeah, there's way more Cowboys fans there than there are Cardinals fans.
Yeah, and I just think Dak's going to go in there and eat their souls, and the Cowboys are going to roll in this one.
Well, we know Dak chews up bad teams generally, but yeah, you're right. This Cowboys team is legit. Trayvon Diggs, I don't know if you saw this. He's done for the season. Tore his ACL at practice today. That's a big loss, but I don't think it really matters much this week. I think they're going to be okay this week. Here's the play I found on this, because, again, I'm not looking to lay 12.5. No. There's a lot of sports books, though, that will let you play second half. And what we've seen in both Arizona games is them start strong and then just die.
Right.
So the back door is closed. You can get right now, you can play Dallas minus 5.5 in the second half. And we saw Dallas, even when they had a big lead against the Giants, they didn't stop scoring. Arizona's been outscored 27-0 in the fourth quarter so far. So I think you see the Cowboys really sort of extend whatever lead they've got. I almost hope that it's a close game at halftime, so the Cowboys can just punish them in the second half, because that's the way I'm going to look at this game, is Cowboys minus 5.5 in the second half.
I like that a lot. And I've been doing a bunch of second half stuff, especially with favorites who get down early, and then you get a good price on them in the second half.
Yep.
And I've done 2 or 3 of those. That's one of the beauties of sitting at home in your underwear watching football all day and not going anywhere. You can sit here and bet on all this stuff, and in-game betting can be a lot of fun. Now, I can't bet as much on some of them, but but it's still been profitable.
As long as you're not betting you're not trying to bet $1,000, like if you're $1,000 better, you're probably not going to get it all down in one place. But if you're not in Vegas, anyway,
but $100 here and there,
you can get that down easy.
Yeah. So Steelers at Vegas, good win for the Steelers last week. I'm going to kind of draw a line through the Raiders against the Bills for a lot of reasons.
I'm with you. This is my favorite play of the week. My best bet on the podcast yesterday was Raiders minus 2.5. I think Pittsburgh was super lucky last week to get a cover, much less a win.
Oh yeah,
their offense is so bad. Kenny Pickett has regressed. He stinks. He's the worst quarterback in the league through 2 weeks. Like, if you do a blend of QBR and PFF grading,
right.
We have a system that we do that. He's 32 out of 32. He sucks. The offensive line sucks. Matt Canada and the play calling sucks. Like, you can't count on your defense to score 2 touchdowns for you every game. It's just not going to happen. And defensively, with Cam Hayward being out, they're now all of a sudden the floodgates are open for the run game. 5.7 yards per carry to the Browns, and it got worse when Nick Chubb left. Even
some guy we never heard of.
I think you're buying low on the Raiders here because they played way worse against the Bills than what they really are, and the Steelers are coming off a really phony win. The market adjusted to it. I think the market agrees with me. They took this from being like a Vegas was like a +1 to where we're at now. As long as you're not giving up 3, if you can get less than a full, if you give up less than a full field goal, I think the Raiders are the side here. This feels like a strong statement game for the Raiders.
Yeah, we're agreeing way too much here. Okay, Philly at Tampa. I have not been all. I know I still think they're the Super Bowl favorites in the NFC. I haven't been all that impressed with Philadelphia, and I gotta say Baker's been okay, and Tampa's looked okay.
Yeah, this is not the same Eagles defense as it was a year ago. I disagree with you. I think I like the 49ers and the Cowboys better than the Eagles right now. The defense is young and it's very beat up. So they were already without Reed Blankenship and James Bradbury last week. Then they lost Avonte Maddox maybe for the season.
Yeah.
So now you're without 3 starters in the secondary, and you got to go see Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. That doesn't seem ideal. And Kirk Cousins just threw for 364 yards and 4 tutties on you last week. I don't know, man. The Eagles' offense has not been as efficient. Last year, they were the 3rd best offense per DVOA. They were 1st in rushing, 5th in passing. This year, they're 3rd in rushing still, 23rd in passing.
Yeah.
The passing's regressed. It's just not the same team. I like the Bucks catching this number.
All right, and then how do you feel about the 2 games on Monday night thing?
I don't like it. I want them to be staggered.
Yeah.
I don't want them at the same time. Like, the whole beauty of Monday night is you don't have to flip channels. So if you're going to give me 2 games, do what you used to do and give me an East Coast game and a West Coast game, and they start right after each other. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, I agree. But we have Rams at Cincinnati. I got to say, if Burrow's still not right, and I'm not crazy about their backup, and I still think the Rams are a little undervalued here.
I think so too. And Fezzik and I kind of talked about this yesterday, and he said, well, I asked him about teasing the Rams up to 8.5. And he was like, well, you're not going to like that because if Burrow's announced in, then it's going to be Cincinnati -1. And I was like, if honestly, I'll like that probably even more, because if let's say Burrow doesn't play and this line goes to, if it goes to Cincy -1, or if he does play, it goes to 4. I think Joe Burrow playing would maybe be a detriment right now. Like, if he's anything what he looked like the last 2 weeks, Joe Burrow's not a line mover. That version of Joe Burrow is not worth the points that they're talking about him being worth.
Absolutely.
So I think that the Rams I think the Rams could win this game.
I do too.
Joe Burrow is I got to give him credit. And I've been wrong on Joe Burrow his whole career. Like, I remember the year that LSU won the national championship. I was like, I would like LSU to win the championship if they had someone besides Joe Burrow playing quarterback, because I didn't believe in him.
Yeah.
And he put egg all over my face. What I will say about him is no one has changed a franchise the way that Joe Burrow has.
No.
Like, nobody laughs when they talk about the Bengals anymore. So all credit due there. But when you take him away from that, they turn back into the Bengals. And it's like, I want nothing to do back in the Bengals at any number if Joe Burrow's not out on the field, and not out on the field healthy.
Any fights you like this weekend?
The main event for this card is incredible. Rafael Fiziev and Mateusz Gamrot is one of the best fights on paper that the UFC's put on in, like, for one of these fight nights anyway, in a long time. So I like over 4.5 rounds. It's at -130. It's a grappler versus striker matchup, but both guys excel in the other too. Like Fiziev is a world-class striker, but he's a great defensive wrestler. And then Gamrot is an excellent wrestler, but is also a brilliant defensive striker and can throw his hands a little bit himself. This is just such a tough matchup to call that I'm probably going to play the dog at +130, who's Gamrot. But I think that this is a 5-round, maybe even split decision type fight. So I like that. I like that total the best, over 4.5 rounds at -130.
I like that. All right. Tell the people about the podcast that you're doing and everything you're doing in Vegas with pregame.
Yeah, man, pregame.com. Check it out if you haven't. If you're looking to jump in on picks, you can get for $10, you can get $50 in bulk dollars, which you can use on anything at pregame.com, any picks, any packages. That's for a limited time, but a great deal that they're doing. And then, of course, the podcast every week. Straight out of Vegas AM, we're doing Monday through Friday. Scott Seidenberg and I. That's on its own feed. So if you search Straight Out of Vegas AM, wherever you get your podcast, you can find that. Please like, subscribe, leave a nice comment, 5-star review, and then same with the RJ Bell's Dream Preview. We put a ton of content up there. Our boy Will Doctor hit a 27-1 first round leader today. He's a wizard.
Yeah, he is a wizard. Oh my God, that guy has done so well. And I need to get on and like and rate you and all that shit, but I do listen. You know,
All right.
especially that time of day, man, because I'm up early, and I know it's really early for you, but you know, because Kira always gets me up like at 5:19 a.m.
Yeah.
Every friggin' morning. And you know, some days she's like, "Get your ass up and take me out," and some days she's like, "I want to cuddle for 10 minutes and then you take me out." But yeah, so I'm up early and then I can't get back to sleep. So
Well, listen, when you do an East Coast morning show from the West Coast, your sleep schedule's effed up anyway. So I appreciate you listening. But yeah, tell your friends and tell people to hit that subscribe and give us some nice reviews, man. I
yeah,
appreciate
guys,
that.
and guys, it's really good and it's great information and you know, it's AJ being AJ, which is always cool.
It's fast. It's pretty fast
Yeah.
paced. Like there's not a lot of nonsense. We just get through the games, tell you what's happening in the world. It's just kind of a precursor to anything you're looking to bet on that day.
Yeah, and there's always something to bet on because that's what we do.
Yep.
AJ, always a pleasure. Love you, brother. So glad you came on. Uh,
Always, my
and
man.
we will do it again next week.
All right. See you then, Freddie.
All right, thank you. Okay, I'm not done yet. Don't you guys leave yet because I'm going to have a guest here in a second. And we talked about this last week about a couple of dogs that we're trying to get adopted. And my friend Kim, the awesome lawyer, is actually here, so she's going to be able to show you pictures of the dogs and talk about them. Yes, get your dog pictures ready. But yeah, the other thing that, and hopefully I'm going to get lawyer Dave here in a minute because yeah, usually it's always fun when lawyer Dave comes on. My TV update, which I was going to share with AJ, is I haven't watched anything. It's football season, right? Uh, although, you know what, AJ, if you're still around, I got to do this real quick. Are you still around? You're going to love this. Trust me. So, you know how it gives you next movies for you to watch on, like, I got Fire TV, right? Okay, I can't hear you. Do I have you turned up?
How about now? Can you hear me?
Oh, there you go. So, anyway,
I had to reconnect my mic. Sorry.
you'll never guess which movie it keeps showing for next movie for me to watch. Actually, I bet you could guess.
Shawshank Redemption.
No, Jonah Hex.
Oh,
And I'm looking at this going, there's no fucking way
I was
I'm
watching
watching this.
that.
Yeah. If AJ were in it, I would probably watch it, but no.
Missed
And
my chance. That was my big break. I missed out on it.
yeah. So every time I see that damn movie, that's all I think about is, God damn, that could have been AJ. Jesus.
Should have been.
He could have been in one of the worst movies ever made.
Damn it.
So.
It was a big loss for me. You live and learn, Fred. You live and learn. I got to take my opportunities when they come from now on.
No, exactly. So yeah, like I mean, as long as they don't ask you to be an invasion on Apple, that's worse than Jonah Hex.
Oh, okay.
It is the worst thing I've seen since Plan 9 from Outer Space.
But maybe I could make it better.
Oh well, you could because right, it can't be any worse. And like I'm not watching season 2.
I haven't seen anything. I've been in football mode, so I don't know what the hell's going on in TV.
Well, you know, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night at like 2 and I want to watch something, but I'm watching shit I've already seen, right? Like I'll rewatch Rick and Morty or I'll rewatch Endgame. I did the Ant-Man trilogy again. But yeah, there's nothing out there new that I want to watch. So
Nah. It's live sports season, Freddie.
it is. It's college football. It's pro football.
That's it.
Everything else can suck my finger.
Exactly.
Anyway, all right, brother. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
All good, man.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Later.
All right, so yeah, you got your dog pictures ready? Then come on over here and sit next to me. I know it's going to be embarrassing for you to be this close to me, but my friend Kim is an amazing lawyer, an amazing person, and she has 2 dogs. She's trying to get adopted. She's fostering them, and you know we have one guy who's interested in one of the dogs, but you know he hasn't gotten back to us. So what I wanted her to do was tell you guys a little bit about the dogs, and then you know you can kind of decide, right? And plus you get to talk to her. She's kind of an awesome lawyer. So all right, so tell me about Daisy/Harley first.
So this is Daisy. She's definitely a golden retriever mix. She has the personality of a golden retriever, which means that she is very, very snuggly. She's kind of a Velcro dog. So if you want lots of hugs and kisses, this is the dog for you. She's smaller than a golden retriever and she's less furry, so that's nice. And she's still pretty playful. Goldies tend to be a little bit more active dogs than you might expect. So she's still pretty playful and likes to have a good time. But she's not above being a snuggle couch potato as well. And then this guy here, he's a chunk. You
That's
see,
Rocco.
he's a half and half little brownie. His name's Rocco, and he is legit a chunky couch potato. He's a chunky boy, and he likes to lay on the couch. He loves to get butt scratches, and he loves to eat bones. He's really mellow. He doesn't do a lot of playing. He doesn't jump. His zoomies are just him doing a little dance with his paws. So he's not much of a zoomer. Both of the dogs are really well trained, so they're house trained. They don't need to be in a crate. They can live in your house or your apartment while you're at work, and they won't tear your stuff up. They are, really good listeners. They know how to sit. They know how to shake. They don't jump. If you want them to go lay down in their bed or their kennel, you just say, I need to leave, or go lay in bed, and they'll go right away. So they're really awesome dogs.
Well, and Kim takes care of them too. That's the thing, and she's a wonderful person, and has had these dogs now for a while,
Yeah.
and she's taking care of them. But it's time for them to find homes, and they're both really awesome dogs,
Yeah.
and I think you guys will like them. And Chris from Houston, dogs good, cats bad. No, I don't think cats are bad. It's harder to get people to take cats. It really
Yeah,
is.
it
And
is.
we have a mutual friend who does cat rescue, and I do my best to help her, but it's really hard to place cats.
Yeah.
But these are good, well trained dogs
Yep.
that have been taken care of, and it's not like when we found Kira in the ditch and nobody took care of her. And
No. These came from a loving family. They were in the same home together, so they're brother and sister, and their parents lost their home and became homeless, which is how I ended up taking them in. So they were well trained before they met me.
yeah, and I remember you telling me the story, and it's like, but guys, if you're interested at all, please just email me at the Falconcast@yahoo.com, or on my old email, you guys know that one, Faour975 @gmail. Or if you have my phone number, which most of you do, just text me, and I'll put you in touch with Kim. Which, if nothing else, you get to meet Kim. That's worth it.
I'll buy you a drink.
But yeah, so but let's get these dogs to good homes, and I know you guys are the best, and we've got a long history together. Sorry. Um, and so I'm reaching out because I really want to help her get these
Yeah.
dogs somewhere. And, and they're not, I mean, they're good dogs.
They are
too.
good dogs. They deserve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I had no idea what I was getting with Kira. And you know what? She's great. But, I know why somebody would get rid of her. I don't know why they'd throw her in a ditch and try to drown her. But she has heartworms, which, today I spent a hell of a lot of money on heartworm medication. And she hasn't been fixed, which you can't do until the heartworms are gone. And all that stuff, um, I get it. She was in heat when we found her, too. So she was obviously bleeding all over the place. These dogs aren't that. These dogs are
No.
taken care of.
Yep.
Kim knows what she's doing.
Yep.
And, they're great dogs. And, you'll love them.
Yeah, they're healthy. They have a clean bill of health. They go to vet. And they're both fixed and they're both chipped. So they're just ready and waiting for a great home.
Yeah. So, guys, please don't be afraid to, hit me up, and I will get you in touch with Kim, and we'll get these dogs out. And I think you'll love them. I really do. And the other thing, I'm not going to spoil anything yet because we haven't worked it all out. But Kim's an amazing lawyer. Has her own practice.
It's true.
We've been talking about doing a Lawyer Dave podcast with another lawyer, and I mean, you guys can vote on this if you want, but kind of thinking Kim would be perfect for it, and we've been talking about it. So, no, she's really bright, and she and Dave are gonna have to meet in person. We've done it over the phone, but and I know you guys said you would listen to that podcast, and so my plan for it is, we'll put it out on the Falconcast network, and the first part of it will be let's take a case and all of you guys just debate the case, right? Not one you're involved with, obviously, because you can't.
Right.
Yeah. We can bleed blue. Fred is a modern day Bob Barker. Please spay and neuter your pets. Yeah, I've got one that's not been spayed because the heartworms, right? So we got about 6 months of heartworm treatment for her, and then we can get her spayed. So, but anyway, get back to that. So do that, and then on the Twitch, you guys can ask legal questions, and if they can answer them, which is a big deal. Sometimes people can do it, sometimes people can't. Sometimes people don't care; they'll just answer whatever, right? They'll be like, "Oh yeah, sure, yeah, I can get you off of murder for that, no problem." But it'll be a fun show, and what do you guys think? I think she'd be great for it. I think. What do I know? I'm just an old man who does a podcast. But anyway, okay, so Asymmetric, welcome back, brother. It's been a while. Start Matt Breida or Kendra Miller this week? Thank you very much, Kim.
Bye.
Yeah, so I always tell you, if you guys got fantasy questions, I'll answer them at the end. Boy, that's a I need to get lucky kind of thing. I'd probably go with Breida, but I'm not going to feel good about it. So, Virginia. Fred, don't sell yourself short. You drink and you know things. I do drink. I don't know how much I know, but I, just love trying. Okay, I got to tell you about Lawyer Dave because he didn't show up. Lawyer Dave was supposed to come in, which means Lawyer Dave is either already drunk or Lawyer Dave's solving a case somewhere and making a bunch of money. And I got to tell you, Lawyer Dave is not just a great lawyer. He's one of my best friends. In fact, he and I go out a couple times a week. He's not just a great. I don't want to call him a client. And Dave's a business partner. Dave's a friend, and he's also going to be that for you. Okay, if you've been in an accident of any kind, guess what? My brother was rear-ended by an 18-wheeler last week. Well, guess what he did? He called Lawyer Dave. You know what Lawyer Dave did? He got him to the doctor, got x-rays. Guess what? His neck is totally screwed up. And it's all from this accident. So if you're in an accident, then guess what? He's going to take care of you. If he takes your case, in fact, somebody reached out to me the other day and I sent him to Lawyer Dave. And Lawyer Dave will solve your problems. If he takes your case, guess what? You don't pay a dime. He gambles on himself, he gambles on you. And if you win, yeah, he gets paid. But he'll get you to a doctor. He'll get you to a chiropractor for you. That's what he does. So give him a call, 713-626-8900. And yes, I know that number by heart, 713-626-8900. And ask him your questions, right? And it doesn't have to be about what he does. I mean, he's the best at personal injury. But he also does a lot of other stuff. Dave's handled all my businesses for me now for 6-7 years. And, he's just amazing. And if he can't do what you need, guess what he'll do? He'll find you the right person. He'll refer you to somebody. If he takes your case, though, you don't pay a dime until you win. So if you need a lawyer, you know what to do. You better dial Dave. All right, so that's going to wrap it up. So much fun doing the show with AJ, as always. And, it was so nice having Kim here. Somebody texted me during the show. It's like, why are you smiling? It's my friend Kim's here. Sorry. Yeah, so I'll look gruff and angry. Is that better? But, guys, I appreciate you so much, each and every one of you. And like I said, it's at the top of the show. If you want to support the show, please do. We're at a crossroads. I'm either going to have to get a second job I'm selling off all my guitars because I want to keep this thing going. And the pod's making money. That's not the issue. The issue is I have all this money invested in these other businesses that one of them is not making money, but the other two are going to pay off in a huge way. I just got to get there, right? And the problem is, and I mean, it's like a huge payoff on the movie. It really is. It's like that's my house in Livingston. That's probably my retirement money. But does it happen next week? Does it happen in 3 months? I don't know. It's just one of those things you have to wait. So anything you guys can do to help, give me some advertisers. It would be great. Anyway, love you guys. And if you're out at the golf tournament tomorrow, please come up and say hello. Like I said, free drinks at pretty much every hole, so I'll buy you a free drink. But we'll have a good time, and yes, we'll probably be drunk because that's how we roll, because I'm playing with some awesome friends. All right, that's going to wrap it up for today. I'll be back on Mondays at 5 o'clock. BC is going to be doing it with me. Eva will be back with a friend of hers, so there's going to be a threesome. There's 2 hot women that'll be making fun of me instead of one. And, we'll just, we'll see how it goes. And then Dr. Linville will pop in and, talk hair and breasts. So you can't beat that. And hopefully we'll have Lawyer Dave. Because, Mondays are, I think moving Mondays to 5 o'clock has really worked because it really frees people up and they have more time. So anyway, that's going to wrap it up. Live here from the Phoenix. I don't know what the rest of the night's going to hold. We talked about doing a podcast about our super contest picks and all that. So that would probably be at 6 o'clock if we do it. But in the interim, I have no clue. That's out of my purview. And I'm old and I drink a lot. So anyway, stay sportsy, Gulf Coast badasses.